I was covered in 3 blankets, crying and struggling to breathe, trying to call out to my schoolmates who couldn't hear me, and feeling homesick even though my parents live only 6 miles from the college. I had a fever of almost 104 and was terrified I was experiencing organ rejection. I'd had a liver transplant in 10th grade for a disease called primary sclerosing cholangitis, or PSC, a rare disease that most commonly affects middle-aged men. I'm fairly positive that I'm not a middle-aged man. Nobody knows what causes it, and nobody has found a cure for it. I was able to contact my mom to come pick me up and drive me to the hospital. In the meantime, I was still in a cocoon, texting friends for help. A fellow freshman with chronic illness came hurrying into my room and packed up my homework and toiletries. She knew exactly what I needed. Even with bad ankles and chronic pain herself, she helped load me into the elevator and got me into my mom's car. I didn't have rejection, but I had a liver infection, which led to my 8th hospitalization for an infection that year. I've been in the hospital several more times during college, but never again have I been so paralyzed, thinking that no one can help me. I've gone to class with IV medicine, dragging my pump along in a giant purse so many times that I've forgotten not everybody is used to it. But living with this disease is not always easy. The biggest blow to my self-esteem was being dismissed from the honors program because I was too sick to keep my grades at that advanced level. It was nobody's fault, but it still took a mental readjustment. I graduated high school with a 4.3 GPA, and suddenly I was dipping below a 3.0. I didn't feel intelligent anymore. At that time, I was certain that my grades told my whole story. And yet, I know so much. I've learned such a vast array of interesting material here. I've learned that cows have 6 stomachs, and that the little finger has over 50% of the hand's strength. I've learned that professors can be my most supportive allies, and that the best way to make friends is to get involved on campus. My new conviction is that my grades can never accurately measure my intelligence. They can tell me only how sick I was each semester, how hard I fought during each moment. But then came the hardest months of my life. Fall 2017 was supposed to be the beginning of my senior year. However, just a few days before move-in day, I received an exciting and terrifying phone call. I'd been on the transplant list since the fall of 2016, and the doctors had finally found an organ for me. On August 18th, I had my 2nd liver transplant. A transplant is not the cure for PSC. In fact, there is no cure at all. A transplant saves the patient's life and gives him or her more years to live. I was excited for the surgery that would help me feel better, but I was devastated not to be starting senior year with my friends. Instead, I was beginning a long journey to recovery, which usually takes about 6 months. As supportive as my friends are, they didn't seem to realize that a transplant is a dangerous, life-threatening surgery. My sweet friends were busy beginning their senior years, so I didn't hear from them very often. But then letters came pouring in from the college. Letters from President Maxey, well wishes from Chaplain Chris, letters from the biology department, cozy gifts like a giant blanket and a stuffed golden retriever from the public relations office. The faculty and staff knew about me. They were thinking about me. I realized that my friends aren't just students. My friends include everybody who works here, everybody who does and has studied here, everybody who loves Roanoke College. Sometimes I'm too sick to go to class. Sometimes assignments fall through the cracks. I try my very hardest not to let that happen. But if it does, I no longer beat myself up and call myself dumb. Instead, I try to live more thoughtfully. I tell myself that I am a warrior who works hard every day to live another day. I'm taking anti-rejection pills that are as strong as chemotherapy pills while studying biology in the Commons. I'm getting up early to get my blood drawn before class. In fact, I just came back from getting blood drawn this morning. I'm smart and strong and the loving people at Roanoke College have my back. So here I am, starting my senior year a year late. These past 4 years have been difficult, but I can't quit because education is too important to me. I'm studying hard to be a genetic counselor, seeking intellectual challenges, and taking care of my health. I could not have survived my ordeals without my family, my friends, and the entire Roanoke College community. Even in the face of my adversity, they have bolstered me and encouraged me to keep pushing forward. With support like this, there's no way I won't reach my goals. Thank you.